Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Bob Shibley. I'm the Dean at the School of Architecture and Planning, and I direct the research activities of the Regional Institute here, UB's Regional Institute. Welcome for the fourth Saturday of our Community Planning School. It's great to see about the same number and a lot of familiar faces at this point. This is the last Saturday we'll steal from you until we do one in October when we pull it all together. So maybe next to last, but each one better than the previous, I hope. I think we're particularly interested in the conversation we had last time with the kind of clarity about the difference between some objective measure of prosperity and the reality of what actually gets to the community of need that we all live in and with. And so finding that kind of nugget is a kind of component of this last session. I think you'll hear more about that as we talk today on organizing and planning for a sustainable future. To place this in context, the first session we held was really a broad overview of sustainable planning and design. A definition of sustainability was offered. We also gave you a kind of objective description of the conditions we're in Western New York, and in particular Buffalo, Niagara. In addition to that, we finished with a kind of a broad overview of what One Region Forward is and how it's functioning over the course of the Housing and Urban Development, the Department of Transportation, and Environmental Protection Agency grant that was awarded to this region for its competitive proposal on the opportunities that a regional focus on planning and development would represent. The second Congress or meeting that we held here was really focused directly on the notion that we live in difficult times, that climate change is real, that a transition from a kind of blue to a green to a blue economy is an understanding the kind of economic conditions we're in and how best to move with it, and the kind of critical cross-sectional role transportation is playing in virtually every aspect of planning for a sustainable region. And then finally, the last session we held was on the building blocks for sustainability, where we looked a little bit more closely and in the depth of food systems, in land use, and in urban design and strategies related to urban design and individual neighborhood development opportunities. So we've got a kind of a package here. We're moving now to housing, community organizing, and planning as three themes. Bart Roberts, who's been managing and directing much of the work we've done here, will now introduce you to the presenters today, and I look forward to a really good conversation with them and you at the conclusion of our session. So welcome and happy Saturday.
All right, thank you, Bob. First, let me go through some housekeeping for the program. As Bob mentioned, this is not the end, even though this is the fourth of our 4 learning sessions. You'll see that in October, we're going to have a celebratory event called our Action Summit, which will be the commencement for this group and also an opportunity to celebrate the work that the Champions for Change program is working on. We're also going to have a event in September that's going to be a workshop that is really going to be targeted towards our Champions for Change, but that'll also be open to anyone that wants to join and is optional, but we encourage you to attend. So the summertime is really a good opportunity for you to get involved in all sorts of different activities going on with One Region Forward, as well as activities that are going on in your local communities. It's a good time to catch up online if you've missed any of the sessions. Recruit your neighbors and friends and family members to participate online. They can do that. And as I said, those events in September and October. So thank you for coming out this morning. It's often been said there are 2 seasons in this region. There's winter, and then there's festival and fair season. It's probably not a fair description of our rich 4 seasons in this region, but I think it's fair to say that festival and fair season certainly has begun, and many of the traffic challenges that you may have had getting here are certainly tied to some of the events that are going on this weekend. Two of the big ones in our community are both within about a half mile of here, the Allentown Art Festival and Juneteenth. So thank you for coming out this morning with those going on. We promise we'll get over in time so you can also participate in those as well. So as customary, I'll give a brief rundown of some events that you've shared with us. We've told you about the Dump the Pump program, or the Dump the Pump event that's coming up on Thursday, June 19th. Our friends from Citizens for Regional Transit are here, and if you have any questions on how to get involved, please talk to them. They can help you with that. And then also, our friends from the Clean Air Coalition let us know that on Tuesday at 6 o'clock, there's going to be an event where they're inviting a national expert from Oakland, California, who's going to talk about green buffer infrastructure that can help with adapting for climate change at the neighborhood level and for making more healthy communities. We'll continue to communicate to you over the summer about events like that, ways to get involved with One Region Forward. And I'd like to give a special plug for we'll be announcing very shortly of a big community event that One Region Forward will be having later in July that will be the next step of the community engagement for this effort. So we hope that you'll join us, but even more importantly, that you'll get your people out to come and join us for that event. So without further ado, let me introduce our speakers today. First up, we'll have Stephanie Simeon, who will talk about issues of affordable housing and zoning. Stephanie is a native of Brooklyn, came to Buffalo to study at UB at undergraduate and to get her master's in urban planning. She's the executive director of Heart of the City Neighborhoods, an organization that does really good work in housing and community development on the west side of Buffalo. Prior to that, she also worked at directing the housing program for University Heights Community Development Agency. Also extensively volunteers in our community and really a great asset to the Buffalo-Niagara region. She also participates on the One Region Forward Housing and Neighborhoods Working Team. Next up, we'll have Jason Knight, who is an assistant professor at Buff State's Department of Geography and Planning. Jason specializes in land use policy related to vacant and abandoned communities, as well as shrinking cities and regions. Prior to joining the faculty at Buff State, Jason also worked at Erie County and in the private development field working in land use issues. So that great perspective is one of the reasons why he joins us on the land use and development working team for One Region Forward. As he's moved into academia, he still very much works to engage his students at Buff State in different things that are going on in the community. And so, be sure to ask him about that after our session. And finally, we'll have a presentation from Shakita Redden from Voice Buffalo. She's a community organizer from Voice, also a product of UB, a native of Buffalo. She's really passionate about creating systematic changes towards creating just and fair societies. She's got a lot of experience in that. She worked for 5 years at a charter school in Washington, D.C., as well as participated in the Jesuit Volunteer Corps in San Diego. She's happy to come home to Buffalo and really devote her energy and passion towards advancing the fair and just communities here in our region. Then following that, we'll invite our two panelists up. First, we'll have Jen Mancosi, the Director of Organizing from PUSH. She got first involved with PUSH as a member and now works as one of the leaders really advancing that mission. She's really passionate about how ordinary citizens have real power and can influence decision making. And then our second panelist is Dan Howard, a planner from Amherst who has been with the town since 1984 and among other things works on long-term planning for the town. He's got a master's degree and PhD in geography from UB, and really Dan's passionate about the role that public education and engaging the community can have in planning process. So we're really happy to have Dan here as well. So without further ado, I'll shut up and turn it over to Stephanie to start our program.